Today let's talk about an independent brand from the Netherlands that really caught my attention. Mmoire. Sophie van Balen, the owner and the perfumer of this brand, she actually approached my friends and I during the last Esxence, and she just presented her brand to us. She was just walking around doing guerrilla marketing, which really resonated with me. And in my mind, that is amazing. She's passionate about what she's doing. She's going out, getting things done without the huge budgets that the big companies have. She utilizes Kickstarter. Right now, she has only 2 fragrances in her brand, which is really good because I have 2 hands. So let's get testing. Full disclosure before we begin, I've been giving the samples for free, and Sophia has appeared in my last 2 videos, but I've been not paid for any advertising. So these are my thoughts, but keep in mind that there could be some slight bias just because I like her as a personality and the whole idea of what she's doing. The first one we're going with is Ether Woods. It took me a bit to get used to this scent. The initial spray reminds me of this kind of carrots, pine, woods, galbanum for sure, lots of galbanum, kind of metallic, a tiny bit of cumin, and definitely this floral, almost white sweetness, which is really nice. She definitely balances out the sharpness of galbanum with this floralness. At this point, the strength for me here is an 8 out of 10, likability also 8 out of 10, and uniqueness for sure 9 out of 10. I don't think I've smelled much of anything that would be super similar to this, but it still smells wearable enough. Within about a half an hour in the opening, the scent evolves a tiny bit, and the floral part, it kind of tones down a bit, and I get more of that galbanum, more of that metallic, kind of a masculine scent actually. It does evoke a foresty feel for me. And in an hour and a half in the heart, it does get more floral, it does get more soft. The strength drops down to around a 7 out of 10. It starts to show more of that narcotic floral feel of it, while also revealing some of that amberiness, like an ambery core to it. In the dry down, about 5 to 6 hours into it, the scent profile, it does mellow out quite a bit. The metallic galbanum is not as harsh at all anymore, though some nuances and hints of it still remain in the scent. But the vibe that I'm getting from this scent at that point in time is this almost cloud-like fuzzy warmth. And in the deep dry down at the end of the day, 8 to 9 hours plus, it basically smells like an oak moss skin scent. So it doesn't give me much of anything else there, to be honest. So strength wise at that point, it's a 2 out of 10. Likability, I'm not a huge fan of oak moss. And uniqueness, I mean, it's just oak moss, right? 5 out of 10. In short, it is a really nice, woody, spicy, kind of metallic, kind of piney scent that, yeah, it is unisex, no doubt about that. But I get more of a businesswoman in a suit type of a vibe here. So it is kind of floral, it's kind of, you know, woody, but it is also harsh yet proper and acceptable in day-to-day business things that people do in business. The next scent is Sur Aris. So the initial spray for this is really spicy to me. It's floral, it's kind of warm, powdery, pollen-like actually. Whew, but really spicy, yeah. Strength and likability, easy 8 out of 10 for me. The uniqueness, I'd say solid 9 out of 10. In about a half an hour in the opening, it gets a bit more honey-like to me. So it's still spicy, it's still floral, but it does give off that tiniest bit of floral, sharp, animalic, honey-like scent. And it definitely reminds me of this summery, flowery field that's just warm, accepting and nice, but has this, you know, untamed nature to it. The strength here has dropped down a notch here to 7 out of 10. Likability, uniqueness, basically the same. In the heart though, it does become considerably weaker to me. It still has this milky floral, a bit sour, a bit, you know, honey-like scent. Both of these fragrances share bits and pieces of the DNA that make them smell spicy, each in their unique way, but inviting, warm, cloud-like, you know, this enveloping and kind of fuzzy. And in the dry down, about 5 to 6 hours into it, it surprisingly stays kind of the same strength-wise to me. But the uniqueness of it does get lost a bit. And at the end of the day, in the deep dry down, I personally get basically just oak moss, which is kind of the same as with either woods. Yeah, just oak moss skin scent, which is not really my cup of tea, but overall I do enjoy this scent quite a bit, mostly because I am kind of obsessed with honey and nuts right now. So this has this honey-like quality to it, which is also really spiced up. So I'm definitely interested in the evolution of it and how it smells. The person that I envision wearing this, actually someone more artsy, I would say. So this has a bit of a untamed type of quality to it. So both of these have this kind of a medicinal quality to them. And the vibe that I get from these is that the person wearing them does have a bit of a wild side. Not the crazy biker style, right? More of a nice hippie type, but at the same time ready to go on an adventure at the moment's notice. I have seen quite a few people like that, and I think I will be recommending this scent to them. Price-wise, it's 160 euros for 50 milliliters, which is, in this day and age, an okay to good value, in my opinion, for a niche indie perfumery brand, especially given that from the talks with her, I kind of have an idea of the ballpark of how much each bottle costs for her, and it's definitely higher than for the big brands, even the big niche brands, and they definitely sell you a more expensive scent for a lot cheaper for them to make. So both of these scents in general, they're not the best longevity or strength out there, but what they do deliver is this raw sense of personality, this kind of natural feel to them. And I do think that this is worth the money.